So, um, from the last day that, okay, from the last stream, my productivity wasn't that good, but it was okay, and I did 5 hours of stream, right? And it made me feel better. But towards the end of the day, it just got more complicated, and well, things relatively didn't go complicated. Like I didn't had any issues in my environment sake, but it just went downhill. Maybe it could be mentally, or I don't know. I started not feeling so good about it down the line. That's the best way I can describe it. So I didn't do the stream that I was supposed to do last night. Now what I have is today I'm supposed to like study, practice the questions that I've been learning and see where I am at, and see how much of the information I am grasping and how is it going right. That's what I'm supposed to do today. Beside that, I don't think I do have anything else. And today's Sunday, so yeah. Um, I don't think I'm good at this stuff. Like I'm gonna be probably bad at writing about these concepts and things that I'm supposed to write about right now, because I grab the concept, I understand what they mean, but actually describing them accurately, like they have been described in books, is hard, and retaining that same language and formal formal way of communicating the ideas on paper is also hard. So yeah, that's what I think is going to be an issue for me. um but I do think I will be able to solve it, right? Like there has to be a way. Another thing which remains to which remains important right now is um what's going on. Like if you think about it, uh I have a very vast syllabus. I have 4 units and 6 subjects. It's 24 units. Each of those units have several different topics, so it's quite large, and I don't know how in a smaller time frame I will be able to get all that information and crush it into a very small chunk. It's going to be really hard for me to do that. On top of that, I'm not feeling very motivated to do any of this stuff. I'm that previous the drain, emotional drain, and this fatigue from the last night has been carried over to today, and I still feel it to a very large extent. It's like they're constantly looking at me, and it's hard. I don't know how to solve it, particularly, but I will look into it. Find some solutions um, that will help me. That should help me. I haven't even checked out how my stream is going. Let me check that. Also, I will be talking about few of the things that I've recently came across. Right. So what has happened is, uh, in the world that I currently live in, like in this today on 4th, 5th February 2023, last, I think on 4th, there was some news about, so there's a war going on in Ukraine, and it's between Ukraine and Russia, and then Ukraine said something about sanctioning India because, well, we are dealing with Russia. We are getting our oils and stuff from Russia, energy resources from Russia because Russia has that. And Ukraine thought it's a good idea to say to India that we should be sanctioned and, sanctioned. And just because we we trade, we should be sanctioned because they don't like it. Like, there is no other logical reasoning to it. Also, on the whole situation of Ukraine and Russia it's quite, like, I don't understand it. First of all, you are straight up going to war against a huge country. Like, heck, it's a continent, it's Russia, dude. Like, what do you expect? um it in every single way. It's just, there is no scenario or scientific statistical way to say that Ukraine can go to war with Russia and Ukraine will win in the end. It's still the time, the money doesn't run out, or the time they don't run out of resources. Until then, they are keeping the lights on, going to war. But what if it just all suddenly runs out? There is nothing to it. You don't have anything. What are you gonna do then? Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, it doesn't make a whole lot sense to me. But hey, whatever is happening. But if I were in that place, I would rather be like, all right, we're a part of Russian territory or Russian border. We are part of Russia. That's it. That's pretty cool. Like, solved. I mean, it's basically like you are carrying this pride around, and you have destroyed the economy of your nation, and now you get donation of weapons from other countries, and you keep on fighting. Like, in the thing is to get where, to get to what end. That's how I currently think about it. My perspective is mine, but it's very neurotic in the way it is. Like, I don't see the point to them fighting, and in similar ways, I don't see point to a lot of things, like political struggles of a nation. India has political struggles, one party change. There is change of power from one party to another party to another. Then it will come back to one party, and then it will come back and go back to another party. It's this change of power, and it works. It's cool, but I just, like, don't think it's any productive, because if you are a party which gives X argument, and if you are a party which if you are a person in the another party, opposition party, and you are supposed to, even though if you agree with the X argument, you have to revolt against it. So all of it will create a situation where, even though that X argument was good, it will definitely create some counter argument, and then we will question the credibility of that X argument, and then this will be whole thing where everyone will try to prove something right and then something wrong, and it won't be like productive enough. So yeah, that's my take on it. But hey, who the fuck am I? Democracy works the way it works, right? Mm, cool. Let me just see how my um this thing is going. Cool. So my stream suppose is like good. There is a bit of issue with when I say bits करके words, those like right now these would cause a very weird sound, that his sound that remains for a larger uh like for more milliseconds, and they continue to exist, which is like, I mean, I am not like a sound expert or anything, but it's annoying to listen to, and it will be annoying to listen to if anybody is watching the stream, which is not good. So I will have to figure that out sometime. um hmm, what is what is going on? Yeah, there is just one of the things that I have been happening during this period of time is um Adani, right? So Adani is a surname of a guy whose full name is Gautam Adani. Gautam Adani. And so this guy is like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, he was in top 10 of the world richest people, and he belongs to India. And what's been happening is the companies that has been listed on Indian stock market, NSE, BSE, you know, and had been trading his companies, uh, those were overvalued and are overvalued. Somewhere along the line, we all knew that it is overvalued, but how it was overvalued was mainly, there was a theory that we just all people just overvalue this stuff, and it's like Tesla, where basically it's overvalued and people buy a lot of it, expecting it to go more high, high, high. So yeah, that's like what how overvalue works. Like one stuff is overrated, and it is overrated because people make it overrated, right? But in this case, it was overrated, overvalued, because he made it overvalued. Like he put up the shell corporations around, different countries, and then started buying shares from those shell corporations of his shell corporations, and started buying shares from those shell corporations of his real corporation, which is Adani Group of companies. What that led to is inflation of the prices of the share, and then everyone else started buying it. But in the end, it was always overvalued, because Tesla overvalues makes sense. Okay, you are kind of tech and also automobiles, so like maybe you can have a higher valuation or whatever. But in this case, I think Adani went nuts, and he was like, oh well, we do all the stuff, we sell oil and we do a lot of stuff, so we must be valued at X amount. And it's, I don't know how it works, but yeah, it was pretty stupid. And I'm gonna be very honest here, I also bought it, but I bought one of those shares which were undervalued, and I still think them which is undervalued. But now that Hindenburg. Oh, okay. So the how all of this came to the light is because Hindenburg released a statement of Adani Groups, which was like Hindenburg telling that, hey, you are a scam, and here is 83 reasons why you are a scam. And they released a whole ass report where they are with proof explaining how this is scam, that is scam, and how all of those things work. So right. Yeah, that's what's been going on in the internet right now, at least in the internet that I have access to, which is Indian region internet. Like yeah, that's been going on. That's been what's up in India. Um, Further from that, on a base of like decade wise, which you will consider like 2020 to 2030 as a decade, and 2011 to 2020 as a decade. On that wise, what is going on is, earlier it started with in 2020, it started with web 3. So web 2 is basic internet that we serve right now, and web 3 is internet. So the internet which we serve right now is, mm, how can I say? We can interact with various elements. We can do a lot of stuff, but all of it is very centralized, and there are organization that have a full control over it. So in case you have to send a money or an anonymous thing to X person from an X person, where identity of both are to be remain private or not known, but rather the thing which like money that has been transferred should be visible. A sense of security should be a sense of private transactions. That is what was, I think, the idea of Web3, and it started from the Web3, right? 2020, Web3 took off, like took off in a way. Crypto took off, and it leads to this domino effect where Web3 took off. So what it did was it boosted up an entire fleet of people who deeply believe that Web3 is a thing which is going to change the way internet interacts. And again, I'm going to be honest here and let's just say I am, I was, or I am, I'm not clear on that, but I think it was a great idea that you can transact with someone without letting them know your identity and send money, which is basically value from X point to another X point across the internet without having to give any of your personal information. And that's amazing. But thing with it is it uses cryptocurrencies, but they are not currencies at all. They are tokens that are priced on a market, which means if you understand stock market, those tokens values can appreciate or depreciate. And if if you know stock market can be manipulated, then why the hell this token can't be? They work on almost the similar principles of economics. They have to, right? And so they were manipulated, uh, and people took a huge amount of losses because there were scammers who manipulated it for their own profit. And that was how we began this decade, 2020, right? Other than that, recently in 2022 and 2023, that hype slowly died, and now we have a new hype. That hype is known as AI, or artificial intelligence, as everyone knows, which is basically the idea that a, a bunch of code can interact or behave like a human mind should, or react like a human mind should. So, and this happened after a tool that went to beta, that of beta test, and it came to public for testing, and that tool was ChatGPT. Is ChatGPT. So what ChatGPT did was, if I had to do something, if I have to phrase a paragraph, or if I have to write something, or if I have to grab some information or anything of that sorts, it could just do it far better than a human could, or at least at a capability of a normal average academic or non-academic scholar, like a, a threshold of, let's just say, a university student who is fresher in his years. That's how he that tool can generate responses that were equally viable as if it were given by a university student in his initial year, right? Although it's basically a very large language model, which neural language model, which I think means they process a lot of amount of language data, lot of amount of text, and then they can now use that text that they have processed and learn from, and now put out an output, a combination of certain words together, which sounds like they have been given by a human. Now Google search can very far, to a very far extent, Google can do the same thing. But what happens is Google is not what ChatGPT is. ChatGPT is in form, in a UI where you can chat with it, right? It's a conversation. It's based on dialects. I put on some dialects, like I ask question from it like a human, like how are you, what are you. And while if I ask these things to Google, which is a search engine which basically collects all the information, all the information and give it, which collects all the information. And okay, I lost my train of thought, all right. I was listening to something which is going on in the next room, and I lost my train of thought. But yeah, Google is basically a search engine which takes all the websites that are there and then see what are the most relevant sites according to its algorithm, and then rate them, and it will show one of the sites which is similar to your keywords or your query, and one of the sites will be an ad. And that's how they make money. Like, they make bunch of money from that shit, believe me. The numbers are crazy. But yeah, that's what is going on in 2022, 2023, this time where, you know, yeah, that's what's been going on. Why I'm referring all of this in a in this sense where someone is watching from future, the point is very simple, right? From here on forward, I want to treat it as a diary, a diary of ideas, a diary of, because I don't have that much space on my computer. And as far as I know, YouTube allows me to record or stream infinite amount of hours as I may please and record those videos online, which I'm very happily, I'm with a stable internet connection able to do without losing any of my hard physical space that is in my SSD, right? YouTube uses cloud and I don't want to pay for it, so this is the way. So in case if anyone does say it in the future, hi, I'm Bharat Bhaskar, and you are watching my channel. And here I just randomly talk about stuff which I would like to talk about. It is generally it's related to world, what's going on, or what I am doing. Well, I am currently pursuing studies for my exams, which are to be held in next 4 weeks or so. Somewhere along the line, I'm also a student who is trying to learn how to manage my time. I am 20 years old, or maybe 21. I don't really have, I just don't want to get exact on that, because if I'm 20 years old, I just feel comfortable. If I'm 20-year old right now, I will get into a panic mode, because it's like stepping into your 21s is very, it's full of anxiety for me. So yeah, what other thoughts do I have that I can put in here? Studying, yes. So I was Yeah. So I was, uh, sh- so I was watching, uh, on how to study more effectively or how to study a large amount, a book that has, let's say, 400, 800 pages, better or faster. So I was watching videos in that context, and well, I found out that I could just, skim through the pages and try to find concept that seem to be relevant to me, and then try to understand those concepts and keep doing it again and again. And let's just say there is a concept on page X 210. Let's that page number be 210, and then there is concept on 2220. Now 220 page context, the context on page number 220 seem very relevant to me. But now what I can do is, I can read that context with interest, but it actually relates to the page number 210 context, right? Like it has a precursor that I need to know the things on 210 page number to be able to really understand what's going on 220 page number. So I can go back and now have a purpose to read that page, which otherwise I would have skimmed through. And doing this multiple times, I can cover at least a large amount of book large amount of data that will be great for me. Otherwise, which would, if I go to a route of linear learning, going by page through page, it's it won't be able to engage my brain in an active learning. Rather, it will be very passive. These are the things that I have learned so far, and as much as I would like to try these things, I am quite drained of my ability to do anything studious right now. I just don't feel like it, which is a bad thing, because if I want to succeed or have anything, do certain tasks, I need to be disciplined about it and separate it from emotions, right? Unless you need emotions to work in your daily life, which I don't really need emotions to understand concepts, but I do need my ability, my critical thinking to be able to do the tasks that I need to do. So that's one of the points, right? Which I need to on keep in my brain. What else I could be talking about? I don't really know what else I could be talking about. Other than it's been pretty great. Past past all of the past years. But as I move forward, like it's getting harder and harder. I mean, it's not to imply that there weren't challenges along the way, but now the challenges seem very external and to a level, while those internal challenges that I have earlier still exist in cohort with my solution to those challenges. They still do exist, but these external challenges, they continue to terrify me. And if you are going to be, one of, or whoever you are going to be watching this video, and if you are somewhat, let's say, my kid watching this video right now, I propose that I might have taught you English language, although I don't know the nature of communication that has been followed through the world, or in the times that you will be watching this video. That is why, because there's this thing going on right now in right now's world, like in the world that I live in right now, in the in the world, in the time which I live in right now. That's the right way to put it. Where there have been talks about implanting chips, and there are active experiments going on, which to quite an extent are successful. And what these chips can do is they can connect to internet, or at least for now they can take input and output without me saying anything, and instead of taking those from our brains, electrical signals, and that to way like that thing, like the this whole idea is very intense idea, and to a very extent this is the idea that makes me want to live a little longer than I wish to right now, and eat healthier, because I would like to be a part of that future. Yeah. So yeah, if you watch this video, I don't know what mental health struggles will look like in 2070, 2050, or let's say for that matter 2040, because for every 10 years the technology that is growing rapidly changes in speed, and it really becomes unthinkable. Like the people from 1900s would, or start of the century, let's say 1910, would have never imagined what we are capable of right now. And for the same part, I think I can't right now, looking at the screen and talking to myself, um, fathom the technology, what changes the technology will probably build. It will be incredible, and that's why the struggles which will come with that technology will also be very hard. Right now, I feel like I have, I do have connections, or human connection, which as which you say, to the humans that I have already grown up with, which are defined as parents. But if we would like to say that, what about other human connection? I still do have them, but there is a lesser bond, and I don't, for some fact, or some if I look into it, it's really not what I would expect it to be, or I would like to have, to the point where I would like to talk to them and talk about useless stuff and be happy about it. To these human connections that I have with other humans, I'm talking about that. Um, but rather than that, I just will not be able to stand them. But in all this chaos and amidst, I think one of the things which have been missed fairly is that previously I enjoyed it, like for a while there, for a very brief period of time. I had human connection which felt way better than anything else. Like, and it was a whole ass roller coaster ride. Like there was ups, there were downs, it was phenomenal. But this human connection required way more effort, and I don't really know this how I can replicate this human connection again with the same quality, without losing the same quality, and you know the way it made me feel. And if you are still struggling to know what I'm talking about, then let me introduce you to the concept of love. So, now this concept is very, absurd. The reason why I say this is this concept proposes an idea that while this okay, I'm not comfortable with using that word. A reason being, it doesn't really mean anything, and at the same time, it means everything. Like, if I would try to explain it in a way that is very sincere, the over excessive use of it in the media has made it such a smaller word into such a smaller word that it won't just matter. But let's just say anytime you feel like you are overjoyed when you are company with other person, that is what I'm talking about right now. Like, that is what it is. And it inside of it has several different rules. Like, those rules are how it works, but at the same time those rules make it complicated, and thus it won't, I don't think anyone will ever define it. There will be a lot of poetries around it, writings, drama, and art. That's all I can say. There can be a lot of art around it, while that may be of visual paint, written vocabulary, dictated art, any form of art, but it won't be able to actually capture the emotions of that moment of while that in the context, that moment in the context of which art was made. That's how I think, that's how rare it is. And it doesn't have to be a long lasting one for it to be rare. It might have, that's just me satisfying what I experienced and giving it a term, all right? For other people, for it to be real, it has to be long lasting. So, yeah, that's how I would say about it. But yeah, if you are watching this, if you are my son, daughter, whoever the fuck you are, in future, let me just say it's phenomenal. Like, you should experience it. Try talking to people if that's still a thing, like where you can talk to people, or maybe you just turn on your neural link and text somehow. I don't know how it will work. It will probably be like your neural links will be connected to your glasses, and now you can write text into your glasses screen, which will be extended reality of the current reality that we see from our normal life. Wow, that the world is going to be fascinating in coming times. Now moving on to another topic, money. Um, it's what money, or in other words, value. Value in exchange of value. This is what drives the world, right? Value, like you have to exchange something valuable, and in exchange, now value is a matter of perspective. A page can hold value in some country. A piece of paper can hold value in some countries, and that same piece of paper cannot hold value in other another countries, and that's how that piece of paper works. That piece of paper is called currency, and that piece of paper is money. But the concept is from, if I look into the older times, the concept is value is about the perspective. Like, all right, so I'm a person. I have I don't have food. The most valuable thing right now would be food. There is another hunter somewhere in the lands which doesn't have a shelter, but I do have a shelter. So I can offer him shelter, and he has hunted. So he might have stock of food which I could ask in exchange of giving him the shelter. That's how value actually works. It's very simple concept, and I think we learn it from the moment we start to really try to learn things. Our brains start to learn concepts. We learn this concept very early in our life because it's one of the concepts which allows us to collaborate and survive together. And I absolutely think that's important, surviving together. There is very less chance that you can be a person out in the wilderness where there are predators everywhere and you will survive. Like, you have to be built different. But the for majority of the part, you have to be someone who can communicate and reach out to these other people. And I would admit that quite honestly, I'm not that person. It's very hard to reach out to people. Like, I don't even know how it worked in earlier times, but right now it's getting more complicated and complicated. Like, let's just say Japan at the moment, it has some of the most absurd socializing culture that you will ever experience, which you will not if you are watching this in future. Why do I say this is because, okay, for a moment let's just look at Japan, right? um there are people in Japan that pay to talk to female audience, right? Like, they literally pay money for that just to talk, which is absurd. um there are vending machines. There are a lot of vending machines in Japan. Why is that? Because they are so introverted that they would rather go to a vending machine and have whatever they want to have than to talk to a physical in human flesh person at a shop. And all of that just makes me feel like if we all had to be like Chapma, like how the world would be if we take their socializing thing and, like, replicate everywhere in the world. It would be a disaster. That's why it's like very culturally different country. Like, it's a culture shock to visit Japan. Not that I have been, but I've watched enough videos. If your argument is like, hey, you haven't been to Japan and you're talking about it, yeah, I will. Fuck it, I don't have money to visit Japan. What do you expect me to do? I watch videos, I talk about it. That's what I do. um I really don't know like what next to talk about. uh, I feel quite fresh doing this, but not as much as productive. I hope like have I hope that I have money in future or something, or maybe a stable life. I do have stable life right now too, but God damn, some money would be fun. Hey, um, if I'm your father and I have managed to mess everything up and haven't left you a dime, don't worry, it was my plan all along. Okay, I'm just fucking kidding. I'm not gonna do it to you guys. Or will I? Okay, maybe I won't, or maybe I will. I'm really not, like, I haven't decided it yet. But let me just think of a criteria. How about this? I will analyze your behavior till you are 12, 13. And if you think like, if you are, if you will stand like, there has to be a criteria. I will think about it more. I don't really have right now. I'm just trying to process it. But let's just say if you are 12, 13 and you are doing good comparison to people around you, like you understand a world a lot more better, then I would probably think about leaving something to you. But for the majority of part, I'm thinking you will be dumb as shit. So the reason, you might ask reason, huh? Look, I I haven't solved my issues, right? So I have this tendency to abandon things, like projects, abandoning things. The only thing which I could have, I haven't abandoned yet, or I am not able to abandon because my life literally supported on it, is my own family. Which, like, how the fuck can you abandon that, right? But in a case where I'm very economically stable, which means basically I have money, there is a very likely chance that I will turn to world and be like, oh yeah, YOLO, see ya later, right? That's just me. I'm still working on it. I can improve. Maybe there is a high chance that I won't abandon you. But let's just say, in case I do, just know that I had my own issues. I was a human too, and like it's been rough, and sometimes you just want to get away. But I can tell you right now that wherever I have gotten away, I'm not that happy. I will be thinking about this, because usually what happens with me is I abandon a project, and I'm very not happy about it unless I get a fair reason, that okay, I can reason with my abandonment, like why did I abandon it. Like I can come up with a good reason, then I might not think about it. If not, I will probably count it as one of my failures, which I don't want you to be. So along the line, I will record a lot of stuff, and somewhere I will just sometimes I will download all of this stuff and put it into hard drives and disk and hard copies. Some of I will leave it on cloud, and yeah, that's, and I will probably leave something with you, because even though I would just like to tell you that even though I did or did not, it doesn't matter. These are the things, these are the videos that you can see and be like, Look, me giving advice at that time will be like, it's annoying, like when someone explains me how they used to be in their teenage. But now, with the proper resources, I can literally tell you how I was in my teenage years. This is me in my teenage or, early adulthood. I could have recorded my more of my teenage, dating back to 14, 15, 16, but no, you don't need to see that. Those were ugly times, like really ugly. I will tell stories about it, but I think I will not. Who the fuck wants to embarrass themselves? But yeah, this is like quite an optimal stage right now, if you think about it. This is what I would call stable ground, the position that I'm in right now. And even though it's a stable ground, I'm continuously looking for chaos. The reason why is, if you live on a stable ground, you don't feel that rush, the rush which life can actually give you. Which, if you will feel once, you would like to do that thing again and again. It's very much similar to cocaine, which is a white powder derived from a plant called cocoa or cocoa, or I don't know what the fuck the plant is called. It's basically hari pattiyon se they, from the green leaves they make white powder, and that what powder is what that white powder gives a rush. So yeah, if you try that, you would like to have it again and again. Similarly, life can give you a purpose in a midst of, like, in between of chaos, or like there can be a lot of chaos around, but you can still have a purpose or something that is driving you, and you can live in that chaos with a purpose, and just try to order that chaos in a way that serves you, no, instead of you serving to chaos and its needs. So that's what I want to right now. I'm at a state where I have served my older chaos, and now I have ordered it and aligned it. Now that I have aligned it, the rush is gone, everything is gone, and no matter for there, it has left a lot of debris and destruction around, which I'm still picking up the pieces of, which is unfortunate, but yeah, that's how it is going. I really don't know why I'm searching for the next chaos, but it's probably because I want to advance more, I want to learn more, and I want to get into some stuff which will create a better version of me. Not that this chaos have not previous chaos have not done it. It has beautifully, and I understand a lot of things more clearer, and I'm very cautious about the decision that I make in my life. But also, it has restricted me to a certain extent where I don't like things. I don't like how those things affect my decision, and that's why I'm scared of those things. And to avoid those things, I don't make decisions that relate to those things. Now I will talk about those things in more detail, but there is way too much noise in my background. I'm gonna just shut the fuck up for a while.